The economy is sending clear warning signals. Most people aren't paying attention, but the signs are everywhere. Here are 5 warning signs happening right now in 2025. Warning sign 1. Credit card debt is at $1.1 trillion all-time high. Americans are spending money they don't have. They're going into debt to buy things they can't afford. This only happens in 2 scenarios. Either people are trying to maintain their lifestyle while their real income is declining, or people are desperate. They're using credit cards to pay for basic necessities: food, medicine, rent. Credit card debt is the most expensive debt. Credit card interest rates are typically between 18 and 25%. If you borrow $1,000 on a credit card and only make minimum payments, it will take you 5 years to pay it off, and you'll pay almost $1,000 in interest. You'll pay double what you borrowed. When credit card debt reaches $1.1 trillion, it means the entire system is under stress. People can't afford their lives without going into debt. And once you're in credit card debt, you're trapped. You're paying interest forever. You're not building wealth. You're transferring wealth to the banks. Here's what happens when credit card debt reaches critical levels. Eventually, people can't pay it back. They default. When enough people default, the credit card companies realize they're not going to get paid. They stop lending. Credit dries up. People can't borrow anymore. Consumer spending collapses. Without consumer spending, businesses fail. Unemployment rises. The economy crashes. We saw this happen in 2008. Credit card debt reached critical levels. People defaulted. The financial system crashed. Millions of people lost their jobs. The recovery took over a decade, and now credit card debt is even higher than it was in 2008. We're in more dangerous territory. Warning sign 2. Savings rates have collapsed. The average American has approximately $2,500 in savings. That's not per month. That's total. That's their entire emergency fund. This is critical because life throws emergencies at you. Your car breaks down, your furnace stops working. You lose your job for a month, your kid needs medical care. A $2,500 emergency fund covers maybe one of these scenarios. The recommended savings amount is 3 to 6 months of expenses. If the average American spends $3,000 per month, that means they should have $9,000 to $18,000 in savings. What this means is that the average American is one emergency away from financial disaster, one unexpected expense, and they're going into debt. They're going to max out credit cards, they're going to take out predatory loans, they're going to be in crisis. When millions of people can't handle a single unexpected expense, the system is fragile. The economy is fragile. The slightest shock pushes people over the edge. Warning sign 3. Student loan defaults are surging. Student loan debt in America is now $1.7 trillion. Trillion. That's almost twice the amount of credit card debt, and default rates are accelerating. More people are deciding, I'm not paying this back. I can't pay this back. I won't pay this back. Student loans are supposed to be an investment in your future. You go to college, you get educated, you get a good job, you pay back the loan. Everyone wins. But that's not what's happening. People are going to college, they're getting educated, and they're not getting good jobs. They're not getting jobs that pay enough to service the debt. You can't build a life when you're paying $1,000 per month in student loans. You can't buy a house. You can't start a family. You can't invest. You're trapped. When an entire generation is trapped in debt because their education didn't provide a return on investment, it means the system is broken. It means the promises we made to young people were lies. And when people realize the promises were lies, they stop paying. Default rates surge. The government has to decide. Do we forgive the debt? Do we enforce collection? Both options are problematic. Forgiving the debt means admitting the system failed. Enforcing collection means crushing an entire generation. Either way, the economy suffers. Warning sign 4. Commercial real estate is imploding. Office buildings are empty. Retail malls are dying. Commercial real estate prices are collapsing. Vacancy rates are at historic highs. Landlords are defaulting on their mortgages. Properties are being foreclosed. Why is this a warning sign? Because banks financed all of this real estate. Banks lent trillions of dollars to real estate developers. They assumed that office buildings would always be full, that retail would always be profitable, that property values would always go up. But office buildings are empty because people are working from home. Retail is dying because people shop online. Property values are down because nobody wants to buy empty buildings. So now the banks are holding mortgages on properties that are worth less than the mortgages. The banks are underwater. They're not going to get paid back. These loans are going to default. When enough commercial real estate loans default, the banks that hold those loans go bankrupt. And banks don't go bankrupt quietly. When a bank fails, it sends a shock through the entire financial system. Other banks get nervous. Credit dries up. People panic. And suddenly, we have another financial crisis. This is exactly what happened in 2008. Residential real estate crashed. Banks that had financed the real estate went bankrupt. The entire financial system nearly collapsed, and now commercial real estate is crashing. Banks that financed commercial real estate will go bankrupt, and the cycle repeats. Warning sign 5. Corporate debt is at record levels. Corporations are borrowing money at record levels. Not to invest in new factories or new technology, to buy back their own stock, to pay dividends to shareholders, to fund executive bonuses. They're not using debt to create value. They're using debt to fake profitability. Here's how it works. A company is struggling. Profits are declining. So the company takes out a loan at low interest rates. They use the money to buy back their own stock. When the company buys back its stock, the stock price goes up. The executives have stock options, so their compensation goes way up. The shareholders make money. Everyone at the top wins, but the company is now more indebted. They have less financial flexibility. They're more vulnerable to economic shocks. What happens when interest rates go up? The company has to refinance the debt at higher rates. Suddenly, debt service becomes expensive. The company can't afford it. The company goes bankrupt. We're seeing this happen right now. Companies that borrowed cheap money are now struggling to refinance at higher rates. Defaults are accelerating. Companies are going bankrupt. And here's the scary part. Many of these companies are huge. They're major employers. When they go bankrupt, they lay off thousands of people. When thousands of people lose their jobs, they stop spending. Consumer spending collapses. Businesses that depend on consumer spending fail. More people lose their jobs. It becomes a cascade. This is how recessions start. This is how depressions start. One sector gets stressed. That stress spreads to other sectors. Suddenly, the whole system is in crisis. So we have credit card debt at record highs. We have savings at record lows. We have student loan defaults surging. We have commercial real estate imploding. We have corporate debt at record levels. These aren't coincidences. These are symptoms of the same disease. A system that's unsustainable. A system that's running out of runway. The question is, when does it break? Is it next month? Next year? 5 years? Nobody knows for certain. But the probability of a major economic crisis in the next 2 to 3 years is extremely high. The warning signs are everywhere. The people who understand this are preparing. They're moving their money into assets. They're reducing debt. They're building emergency funds. They're getting prepared. The people who don't understand are going about their lives normally. They're taking on more debt. They're not preparing. And when the crisis hits, they're going to be devastated. The question is, which group will you be in? Save this video. Study these 5 warning signs and start preparing, because the crisis isn't a question of if, it's a question of when.